Kaylee McCool. In 1981, Chris Gardner was staring at a Rubik's Cube while riding in a cab. He had a few dollars in his pocket, and he was sitting next to a CEO that could make or break his career. His relationship with his son and wife was on the line. As his cab ride came to a close, he frantically twisted and turned the squares, and just as the taxi neared the curb, he finished and handed the man his Rubik's Cube, solved. This was a defining moment in Chris Gardner's life, whose life story inspired the popular 2006 movie Pursuit of Happiness. Although this moment in Gardner's life happened in the 80s, his story is still being told because of its relevance to our pursuit of happiness. As Gardner turned his life around, I got a peek at what people's pursuit of happiness entails today. And this got me thinking about the happiness in the people around me. When I asked my friends and family, "Are you happy?" I was saddened and startled when I found myself hard-pressed to hear yes. So let me ask you, are you happy? As a college junior, I am beginning to realize how close my entrance into the so-called real world is. And the thing that makes it scary is not having a guarantee if all the life decisions I've already made will make me happy in the future. Upon reflection, I realize that happiness isn't something we get or fear that we may lose, but rather something we have to continually pursue. I propose that we pursue happiness by bettering our lives, believing in ourselves, and bonding with others. Bettering our lives is how we individually increase our happiness. And aren't we all trying to do just that? Better our lives? Psychologist Ed Diner said in an interview, "There's a set of ingredients that has to be put together in the correct way in a person's life: good social relationships, meaning, and having goals." Mr. Gardner's story is a prime example. He was an impoverished salesman who wanted to better his life by becoming a stockbroker. Becoming a stockbroker meant a more comfortable and enjoyable life for him and his family. As we all know, the business world is about making a lasting impression, and by hopping in that cab with the CEO of a brokerage firm and proving to him that he could solve the impossible Rubik's Cube was Gardner's moment. During this ride, he bettered his life. He set a goal by putting forth effort and taking a risk. He got the opportunity of a lifetime and accomplished a personal goal. But we don't just have to better our income in order to be happy. Instead, the idea of bettering our lives should be about setting a goal and achieving it. In the 21st century, our interest in setting goals and pursuing happiness has never been more apparent. When I typed into Google, "bettering your life to be happy," there are about 206 million results. It is clear that the idea behind bettering our lives puzzles and motivates us to pursue happiness. But we shouldn't just stop at bettering our own lives. We are members of a local and global community, and being a part of these communities gives us the opportunity to better the lives of others by helping others achieve their goals. As we start to reform the way we pursue happiness within ourselves, we also need to realize how equally important it is to derive meaning from our community. What I'm talking about is believing, not only pursuing goals by enriching them through faith in ourselves and others. Gardner shows us this in the cab. He believed in his own abilities to solve the Rubik's Cube, and by believing in himself, he was able to succeed. Later in the film, Gardner goes from just believing in himself to believing in something greater than himself. He turned to faith in search of support, guidance, and meaning. The Christian faith worked for Gardner, and this isn't to say that one belief will make you happier than another. Believing in something bigger than ourselves can offer us a sense of meaning, whether this is a life philosophy or religious belief. In the article, "How Do People Pursue Happiness?" found in the Journal of Happiness Studies, it's noted that a sizable body of research supports the link between faith and well-being, likely because religious activity provides increased social connectedness as well as a sense of life purpose. This suggests that people not only become happier through believing because believing gives us a sense of purpose, but believing also gives us a sense of community. David Gilbert, a Harvard psychologist, says that religion might not be exactly why churchgoers are happier than non-churchgoers. It's the network of relationships that make us happy, knowing that there are people in our lives willing to lend us a needed hand and support our beliefs. The Juniata community is an example of one such network of relationships. Juniata conveys the importance of believing in 3 principles: think, evolve, act. If we believe in ourselves and believe in Juniata, we can make the changes necessary to think, evolve, and act in ways that will not only help us, but help others. Bettering our lives by working towards goals and believing in ourselves and something bigger are important, but sharing what we've gained with others will help us attain true happiness. Researchers say meaningful relationships make us happy. According to psychologist Ed Diner, having deep relationships in our lives make us happier because humans have a natural desire to create bonds with people. So how do we know that having relationships is important to us today? Think about it. Do any of us not want close relationships in our lives? I doubt it. We actively seek the formation of meaningful relationships because having these relationships make us feel wanted, appreciated, and ultimately happy. Relationships are so vital in our lives, they are evident in places we wouldn't even think to look. Take the Winter Olympics that have just ended. The Olympics provide a competitive yet relational environment. Athletes from around the world come to compete against one another, and yet many competitors create lasting relationships with one another. Not only are the athletes capable of putting aside the determination to take gold in order to create relationships, countries that can't even exist together without war can put down their weapons and find common ground with one another in athletics, allowing the world to bond. So if you were sitting in a cab with the person beside you that could make or break your career, could you believe in yourself? Would you draw upon the love and the relationships you have to succeed? And will you take that leap of faith to better your life? Pursuing happiness is obviously not easy. It takes hard work, love, and often a leap of faith. In the 21st century, the pace of change has accelerated, and we are trying to attain happiness every which way. So I ask you to consider pursuing happiness through these ingredients: bettering your life by achieving your goals, believing through having faith and community, and bonding within meaningful relationships. By internalizing and actualizing this recipe, I am in the pursuit of happiness. And my hope is that if we are ever asked, "Are you happy?" we can respond with a resounding yes.